I'll record too. It's all good.
Okay. Yes, yes. And if you can send me it as well, please and thank you.
Will do. Will do. Will do. Will do. So I'm making sure that I also don't have any distractions. Because I
Don't
know I
worry.
get a lot of calls and things like that. All right. So Angela, yeah, tell me a little bit about what it is that you're trying to do and
Hmm.
how I can be of service to you. And thank you for returning to us because I know we had that talk. You met Rai and the
Yes.
team and what the profession is all about within a day or so, and uh and it's good that we're still in touch.
Yeah.
So tell me.
So basically, I kind of strived away from architecture because no architecture at Clark, but that doesn't mean that I don't still love architecture.
Hmm.
And especially when I went to your guys' firm, that really impacted me knowing like, obviously I think your firm was literally solving a problem where it was you don't see many Latinos in the architectural firm. So for me that was a very big momental thing. Even to like this day I give tours. I work as a tour guide and I always talk about how Melissa set me up with you guys and how impactful that was for me. So when I was taking this entrepreneurship class, we were supposed to talk to someone who has created their own business and stuff like that. And I knew that I wanted to come back to you guys because um that you guys were like an important piece of like like Latinos and something that I really want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I know I want to come back to you guys.
Excellent. Oh, I'm glad. And it's all still in alignment. So, business is business no matter what type of business it is. There's layers of things that you add, but you have one thing in common no matter what, and it's people. At the end of the day, it's
Yeah,
all about serving people, right? So it doesn't matter where you go, you're still serving people. But tell me
exactly.
about this like questionnaires and like what do you
Yeah.
want to know? Yeah, let's take it.
So I have like a full doc of just questions that I'm
Go
gonna
for it.
like ask you. Um, so first questions I have is just like your intro of like entrepreneurship, like who you are, what is your role, what are your responsibilities in flow design, and why did you start flow design? Like what were the key motivators that made you want to start this business?
Excellent. And this is great timing because last Saturday we turned 9 years old. And on
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. And on Tuesday, 2 days ago, we had a basically recorded session where we were basically telling our story. So look out for that when it comes out.
Okay, okay,
It's
okay.
gonna be not just from my perspective, but also from Marcos and Julio, who are some of the three first Avengers, right? Because we came in
I
package of
like that.
three. Yeah. So introduction about me to get the most important thing out of the way. Latino proud. I'm from the Dominican Republic, born and raised there. Got to the States back in 2010, and I knew I wanted to be an architect because I had already started that career back in the Dominican, but I curved my way into it again after coming in here. Often when you come from another country, um, well-intended family members and friends want to steer you towards what has worked for them. And I say well-intentioned because we may look at it as a negative, like, oh, I'm a nurse and nursing is great and you can make good money. And I'm like, yeah, but I ain't for me, right? So, oh, I'm doing Uber and Lyft and I'm doing really well. Forget about architecture. It takes a lot of work and a lot of energy, and English is your second language. No, that works for you. That doesn't work for me. So I kind of had to curve my way into it again. And know that I wanted to be part of society, part of something a little bit greater, not denigrating any of those other jobs or, some family members working at fast food restaurants, which is what my first job, Wendy's. That was my first job in the United States, right? I still know a lot of people from there. So, fast forwarding, then I went to the North Shore Community College for English as a second language, graduated there, took some intro classes to like Comp 1, Writing 1, and things like that, and some AutoCAD classes. And then I enrolled into the Boston Architectural College, which is a open enrollment program, which is great because you don't need to fight for a seat at the table there. You just enroll and they accept you. They always accept you. And it's also because it's a bit of a Darwinian school, meaning only the strongest survive. Architecture is not for everyone. So you're gonna when you get
Mhm.
in, you get in, but you don't know if you're gonna get out, right? It's very, very difficult. Um, Now, that said, business, it's been in my family, and I think it's a Latino thread that we all are taught to, we're born with the business entrepreneurial mindset. And really is, I got two hands, I got a brain, let me know where I can use them. Let me know
So
what I
real.
can do. Yeah. So, so that said, I first wanted to understand how other firms operated before I even thought about business. And I worked at different firms while I was at school. And my mission when I was working at those firms was very much intentional. And that's a phrase you hear, like I'm dating with purpose and I'm dating with intentions. I'm being intentional. So that's great. But I really just wanted to see if I fit in and if I could thrive. And if I could fit in and thrive and they would welcome me, I would want to be there. Unfortunately, although many tried, I didn't fit in. And belonging is something. It's hard to describe. And someone actually at Zoom, I was at a Zoom summit, described it very well. Like diversity is to be invited to the party, right? Equity is to be put in the dance floor, right? You're part of the dance floor. And it's also inclusivity, to be put into the dance floor, to dance, to be called to dance. But belonging is dancing as though nobody else is watching you. It's just
Yeah.
you're just being you. You're just doing your thing. And unfortunately, I never felt like I belonged in any firm. So I worked at about 10 different firms. And a common thread between me and my business partner, Marcos, was that we would call each other as we left our jobs after work. We worked at different firms. And we would be, and we're not complainers, but we would be complaining in a funny way. Like we're not being empowered, we're not being giving a chance. They're nitpicking on things that don't really matter while I'm solving the bigger problems. I'm being looked at as a threat rather than as a resource by leadership, right? Like instead of being welcomed and put on leadership path, or hard work didn't seem to count. Like hard work versus someone that can be working 1,000 miles per hour versus somebody that's just 10 miles per hour, but they come from the right group or ethnicity or whatever, right? So I had no choice but to say, let's make a place for those without a place. Let's make a place where misfits fit in and where people belong. And that has evolved over the years, but that was the impetus for Flow. Everywhere else was too rigid, too solid, too strict, too much corporate America. You just think about
Yeah.
elevator music in the background and you gotta be, hey, how was the weather? I don't like that. At Flow, we're not like that. We don't care about the weather. How was the Ricardo Arjona concert? How's life? How's everything? We know of each other. We care for each other. And that's very important to us. So that kind of crafted or made us craft the place, and we've always been rethinking that place. But that was the impetus. It wasn't am I a great architect? Am I the best architect? Do I think I'm better than everybody else? No, it had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with design, nothing to do with buildings, nothing to do with architecture. It was all about community and feeling like we were a deserving community, not an entitled one, which is the other side. We're not an entitled community. We've earned it by hard working, like I'm the hardest
Yeah.
worker in the room. What's going on? Why don't you acknowledge it? So that's kind of the long story short to to the inception of Flow, to the origin of Flow. Yeah.
That's so inspirational. Like just hearing you say that, like that makes me want to go out also, like to do my own. Like ever since I met your firm, that's always inspired me as well. Because being Latino is like what really impactful for our lives. So I do wish to also make communities in the future for Latino people. Thank you
Mhm.
so much. Okay. Other questions. I have, what is the size of Flow? Like how did you start first getting your first clients and staffs? And like what is your current customer base and how would you expand it
Okay,
like
so
now?
the start, all right. So the start was at my basement back in Salem, Mass. So it was a little garden level apartment that I had. So and it was me, my laptop, my school workstation, which I bought, like a nice computer, an intern from China, and Julio Gutierrez from Mexico, and that was like the in-person staff. They
Mhm.
were part-time. I was even part-time. And then Marcos as well, but Marcos was off-site. Basically, he was working remote or working from home, but he was working full-time at another firm because he was doing that transition as well. So that was 2017, 2018, 2017, 2018. Our first full-time staff member was Julio Gutierrez. It wasn't even me. It was Julio. He took a big risk. He was working at another firm, and between that firm and Flow, he was splitting his time. But I said, "Hey, Julio, I think if you come full time, we can make this work." And the other firm at the same time said, "Hey, I think if you come full time, we can pay you more." They were paying him more, and it was something shocking to me that he put belonging, placemaking, and building something ahead of money. Even it's easy to say when you have nothing to lose, like, oh, I got no kids, I got no family. He's got a kid, he's got a family, he had a baby, he had, two kids. He had a lot to lose. And he said, I'm gonna put I'm gonna bet on Flow. So I'm gonna be full time. It was $12 an hour, Angela. I don't think you even wake up for $12 an hour. I don't think you even, even if you were paid to watch a movie for $12 an hour, you wouldn't even watch it. You're like, no, my time is worth more, right? And he did that. He did that. So that was our first staff member. When it comes to how we got our clients, so there are a lot of avenues, and we didn't get to that on our interview, but the first clients that we had were people looking for like students to do work at the practice department at the Boston Architectural College. They have like a practice lab website, and we would see people posting like requests for projects at a low fee within that. And then also we got um we got leads through like family members and friends on projects, and those evolve. Um, we realized that there was a lot of people out there that were doing architectural work who weren't necessarily licensed, but they had connections. So that was a thing too. Sometimes there's people that have the title and don't have the charisma, and some people have the charisma and don't have the skills. So we had to kind of match that, and I had to earn those skills, right? Figure out how to get those skills. So our first project ever was a little garage that we did. Like it's a pretty remarkable one, by the way. And it was through the practice department where someone, John McElfresh, rest in peace, he actually passed away during COVID, connected us with this contractor who did only high-end work, cost us. And that cost us open the Greek world. There's a bunch of amazing Greek clients that we have that love us and we like them. It's like cultural things that you have affinity to, and we're completely opposite places, but so those are, that was the beginning. Then we signed up for things like Home Advisor and other websites where leads get generated online and you pay for them. It proved to be a nightmare and not worth it financially, but it was worth it as a boot camp for entrepreneurship because it will give us a bunch of phone numbers of clients and emails to clients, and we would have to call them. And it was like cold calling to some degree because the clients didn't know that their numbers were being given to like 100 people. So it was
Yeah.
weird because they were selling the same lead to 100 different people, and we had to compete with them. So that was like bizarre, right? Like it wasn't exclusive dating, right? It wasn't exclusive dating. It was like a free for all. So we learned that the first person to call will get the first chance. So we were
Mm.
fast. So me and Marcos comes on board full time 2019, summer of 2019, and I say, "Hey Marcos," and the transition was, and I guess I'm answering your questions before you ask them too. And the transition was as follows, right? Hey, okay, so it's like the singing of the elephants jumping on the net, or
Yes, yes, yes.
so it's like, oh, okay, one elephant can jump. Let's call another elephant and see, and then like call. So Julio and I were doing work, but Julio wasn't entrepreneurial in the sense of calling clients and creating leads and talking to clients. He's a capital D designer, capital A architect, the traditional kind of architect that you think of, sketching all the time. I'm more of like a hybrid. I'm more of a hybrid of both. So, and I was like, okay, Julio can execute, I can get work. If Marcos can come and make calls, Marcus, how much do you need to survive? Right? Like we were literally saying, okay, how much do you need to survive? Let's lean up on how much we need so that we can make this thing work. You know, so if Julio needs $2,000 a month to survive, and I need, I don't know, $3,500 because I had also two kids and a demanding wife and mortgage. Okay, so that's $5,500 a month. If Marco needs 3,000, that's about, you know, about 9,000 plus any software that we need to pay. How many calls do we need to make so that we can support that need? And can that need shrink anymore? Right? It's like, no, it cannot shrink. So Marcos was like, hey, Darwin, I have a lot of like credit card debt I got to pay before I quit. So he literally was like, until I don't pay, you know, Marcos is like the play it safe kind of guy, right?
Mhm.
I'm more like, dude, I'm quitting tomorrow. I'm gonna Uber and Lyft, which is what I did to meet my requirements, and I'm gonna Uber and Lyft, and we'll figure it out. So I will be Ubering and Lyfting and saying, okay, I got money for Darwin Jr.'s swimming lesson. I got money for dinner tomorrow. You know, like I literally would do that. So we will be calling clients and doing that. And that home advisor in Angie's List was like, okay, can you muster rejection? Right? That was one learning right there. Because a lot of these guys say, who gave you my number? I don't know you, and I'm gonna block you right now. You know that we're called muscles sometimes in the national level of the United States because of a reason, right? We have the middle finger is almost like a thing, right? When we're driving, right? Which
Yeah.
I say I hate very much. But that's what you see out there. What about when you can see their faces and you call them for a potential home edition that they didn't give you the number? It can get very cruel. So me and Marcos became very humble through that process. Hey, we're just here trying to feed our families and friends. Make sure Julio's got money for Oliver and Heidi, and then later on also Adela, and and that's all I'm doing. It was an honest, humble thing that we were doing, so we didn't take it personally. So we had this big Excel of like and we upgraded. It was like Excel, and he said like Darwin Fortuna and Marco Severino, DF MS, and he's like MS called. Okay, should I call again to see right another voice, another person? And we would be calling and calling and calling. It looked like a call center. We still kind of look like a call center to some degree. Well, we learn again. You got to be the first one calling. You got to be the hungriest, right? You have to learn as you go, and you have to pivot. So we started charging for consultations. We started charging for consultations because we realized how painful it was to meet with somebody that didn't see your worth, right? And didn't value your worth. We then stopped charging for consultations because a lot of people said, oh, your competition doesn't charge for consultations. So you should stop because nobody else is doing it. So we're not going to talk to you. Then we started charging for consultations again because what we realized is that we didn't have a good argument to prove our value. And that's why we gave up to the charging. So the moment we realized, wait a minute, Marcus, you graduated magna cum laude from college. I graduated summa cum laude. That means something. We're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt. We went to school to generate value to our clients. Let's show them that we are value, that we embody value. The moment you embody value and solve people's problems, you're able to justify your costs. Immediately, you can justify your costs, right? And the good clients would agree happily to any fees for consultations. We learned that the bad clients did not want to pay for consultation. They were always tire kickers. They would talk to five other people. And it's again, and I'm relating this to dating with intention, right?
Yeah.
Right? The good dates would pay for the dinner, don't even talk about splitting the bill, open the door, and sees you as
Yeah.
the one. The other tire kickers will be texting on the dinner, will not be paying attention, will go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. It's just really telling you where their minds is at. And what I learned is if I'm gonna date somebody and work with somebody, it's the same thing. And they don't pay attention and respect me, I'm gonna walk away.
Mm.
So I will literally respectfully say, I already paid the bill. We'll see you later. We're all set. I don't want to work with you. Right. Every time I bent the rules to the consultation fee with new clients, I would always be burned. All right. So for the interest of time, I already gave you a lot there. So the first hire was like that. It's like,
Yeah.
could you pull yourself, right? Could you pull yourself and somebody else? And our clients then started evolving from that initial list of phone calls.
How do you maintain these like relationships with your clients?
Great question. So, not everybody builds more than one building, right? Sometimes you build
Mhm.
one building and you're done forever, right? So, I would say that the initial engagement when they come and we solve their problems and we design their homes, it's a process. It takes anywhere from 2 months to a year, 2 years. After we're done with them as a client, when we're done with the project, we always send a little follow-up email for them to write a review about us. And from time to time, we do a kind of courtesy call. We do it at least 4 times a year within something that we call Full Organization Day, which is when we call those clients and say, "Hey, hope everything is well. How's life? How is everything?" And it's nothing to do with the project because we finished our project. We're done. But it's a nice little relationship
Mm.
building moment. The other thing that we do, we invite them to join our YouTube channel and our Instagram. And they become Raven fans. They become people that always refer us, that always talk to us. Then they move on into boards and different entities and they call us like, hey, could you come talk to, the Boston Charter School? Because I'm a director here and I want you to be here. So it's like, like attracts like, but not only that, it's like we flow together, right? So we flow together.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we do it. We send them also like gift cards and things like that and Christmas cards at the end of the year. And we literally go with presents to whatever they are, which is something I'm very proud of. Like I go and Marcos goes and I bring my kids, like, let's bring them a present for Christmas. It's something to remind them that we're still here and that we still value them and that this is authentic. We're not just trying to get something from them. We're here on the long haul, right?
That's very sweet. That's very
Thank you.
cute. Um, so now these are questions like more asking about like major challenges that you feel like that you're facing right now, or like key risks that could affect the current business. Or like what are some resources such as like budget, technology that are like restricting you from creating decisions, or just in general operating as flow possible.
So challenges, all right? 'Cause this is a mouthful that you gave me right there, right? So I'll try to answer all of it. So
Yes.
challenges that we're currently facing, it's it's I wish growth happened instantly, right? I wish people we
Mhm.
hire immediately got could by osmosis almost absorb what we're all about quickly. They can absorb the vibe, but the skills don't necessarily transfer, right? It's a craft, it's a practice. So I wish people could grow a little bit faster. But one thing I'm learning is that we gotta dance to the rhythm of others as well. And understand that everybody has their own tune. So that's one challenge. I really wish they could grow faster. I really wish they
Mhm.
had the sense of urgency I have. I have a sense of urgency, Angela, about everything I do.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse. But like, dude, you're late. And I think it came, I'll tell you why. It came by the fact that I moved from the Dominican Republic to the United States. My friends were getting married and having kids. I was at school. So I felt like I was already behind.
Mm,
The
I get
fact that
it.
everybody could speak English in the United States and I didn't, I was already behind. So I always feel like I'm always behind. Now I've realized I'm kind of ahead to some degree, so it's good.
Yeah.
But that's a challenge. So that's on the staff side. I wish they could pick up what I'm putting down quick and they could pass the baton and keep learning. On the business side, and then that's a very important part of business is the staff. The business side is realignment of client expectations and needs. We got to figure out a clear way of understanding that what I'm telling you I'm gonna give you is what you think I'm gonna give you, so that what you think I'm gonna give you doesn't differ, and then there's no friction. Because people kind of put something in their minds, and ambiguity is the enemy of business too. We need clarity. So that's on the risk and lessons right there. To some degree. Uh, so we're pivoting a lot on training, spending more time on training of our staff members, but also training of our clients so that we're all on the same page. Um, Strategies we're applying right now, we do not want to have all of our eggs in one basket. So we do not only follow, like, let's say, residential single family clients, we're also going into the multifamily affordable housing, but we also are going for public projects with the government and entities and government officials. So we have about 11 of them right now. And that has given us a stability because there's a lot of uncertainty for everyone. You would think like, oh, it's
Yeah.
only Latinos. It's for everyone, but we feel it the most, to be honest, right? On the food chain, you know, everybody's getting hurt right now with tariffs and uncertainty in construction pricing. Where does steel come from, right? Where does materials come from? They all come from, wood comes from Canada, right? Some of the wood actually comes from Mexico and Brazil. So tariffs, if there is a lot of macro uncertainty, it comes down to business for us, right? So we're trying to make sure that we're diverse when it comes to our business approaches, but also figuring out other revenue streams like our YouTube channels monetize. It doesn't make a whole lot of money, but it's better than waiting for drones to be finished, right? It's ongoing, it's there. We are developing our own properties. We have a property in New Hampshire that we own, and we're trying to develop Airbnbs in New Hampshire, which is super beautiful by Winnipesaukee Lake. So we're trying to say, hey, let's figure out how to generate more revenue. Things that we're doing to protect our business. Marcos has a $500,000 to $1 million policy, life policy. So if he was to drop dead, God forbid, Flow inherits that, and he allows us either to promote somebody that's ready within the company or hire somebody outside that's already ready to come in. The same thing is my policy. I have a policy for 500,000 to 1 million. If I drop dead tomorrow, we get to train somebody and bring them in. So we're protecting ourselves so that Flow is not just something of today, but it's something that will have legacy, longevity. It is the place I wish I found at the beginning of this conversation when I was telling you early on, right? If I found a place like that, bro, I'm not going anywhere. I'm telling you right now, my
Yeah.
future is secure, but it's because I've earned it, right? So those are kind of risk lessons. I think I'm answering a lot of those questions there.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to where you said like clients, I know sometimes like you said that it's kind of hard to give the clients what they want. How do you how do you incorporate like clients' feedbacks when like their wants is way over their budget?
So great. So we have a process here, Flo. It's a 4-step process that we follow. Step 0 is initial consultation. So the initial consultation is where we meet with them and get to know what it is that they want. It's really all about listening more than anything else. After that, I would already walk out of that meeting with uh, who's in control of the conversation. Is it the wife? Is it the husband? For a single family, let's say. Like, I want to know who's gonna be the knucklehead, who's gonna be the difficult one. Like, what's the municipality and the city where we're working on? Every city is different, every town is different. So I will understand all those risks. I will understand their personality and whether I like working with them or not. And I'll structure my contract tailored to those needs. I always record those initial consultations with my Meta glasses or with my phone, and I tell them, hey, I'm going to record this because I do 10 meetings a day, and then at the end of the day, I will forget who is the one that wanted pink walls, right? And then it's like, oops, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong thing. So that's that. Then on step 1, 2, 3, and 4, we have checks and balances where they have to sign and approve. So there's a moment where we're like, okay, step 1, does this look like your existing property? Yep, looks good. You sign. So if you sign, there is something to the act of signing something, right? You even shake, like, should I read these? Did you read the terms and conditions? Right. So they sign. Step 2, they do an envision, and that envision's got to be in alignment with the contract. Our staff members are all trained to read the contract, read the envision, which is a form that they fill out intentionally, and say, yep, those are apples to apples. Or nope, they say they wanted a single-story home, and now they want a 3-story home. That's a change. We got to stop there. Don't do the work because you do not want to do free work, right? Because you will lose it. And pivot quickly, do a change order, move on to the next part, right? We have invisible office manager at our office who is the one that handles all of our financial matters. And I call it invisible because it actually doesn't exist. It's an email intentionally created so that we avoid friction between our staff members and the client. So that invisible office manager is Marcos and me and everybody else that has access to that email. And that invisible office manager says, you have incurred additional services because of X, Y, and Z. looking at X, Y, and Z contract, and what you're asking for does not match. So we try to avoid people walk out with more apples out of the market, right? Like more things than
Yeah.
what they actually pay for. Yeah. So that's how we manage those expectations. Not easy because some people are not that like technology savvy, so they wouldn't be able to do that. Some people are intentionally ambiguous so that they can get perpetual design services forever. And that's one thing that's different, Angela, from architecture and arts versus other services. You know, if you hire me to frame your house, I'll frame your house. You can see it, it's framed. Architecture, you can't really see it, right? It's paper, it's
Yeah.
drawings. You don't really see it. So you may be like, oh, that was very easy work. No, it's not, you know,
Yeah.
and they devalue it. So that's that. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Okay, this is kind of like your support system in your business world. So like, who do you rely on most while trying to get your business to grow? Who is your like circles of influence? What are like some organizations or people that help your business grow?
Excellent question. And then the term of it takes a village to kind of raise a family is an understatement. It's the same case for business. It's the same case for everything. So uh, I rely on my day-to-day peers within the company. We are the first line of support within the company. You had a car accident, your car broke, whatever's going on, we are a company that foster and help each other thrive, right? You you had a rough situation at home with your family, we are the first support system. So we always want clear communication. So we always ask the staff members to have a quick WhatsApp chat where we're included on that chat and they can communicate with us about what's going on. Now, that's one way, that's staff members to leadership, but it's also the same way all the way up and down, right? So I don't necessarily bother everybody on day-to-day advice within the company, but people like Marcos, my business partner, people like Julio, right? Who is, again, my right hand man. I rely on them for day to day. I don't even know how to do this. I don't know how to manage this. I will talk to them. For the general staff members, I see what they're great at, and I can probably pivot and ask them questions on those things because the fact that I'm leading Flow doesn't mean I know everything. In fact, that's what I've told them. Grab the book and read it because I don't know everything. You know, that's the first thing. So outside of Flow, extending beyond Flow, I am very grateful to the American Institute of Architects. I am a member of the AIA, and that is the sole institution that supports architects across the United States and beyond, because they're national but also international. They provide resources for small firm practitioners. They provide channels of communication. And I am the chair of the Small Firm Exchange, which is firms of 10 or less people within that kind of bracket. And that answers your question that we're about 10 people plus or minus. And they provide a lot of information. But again, you get in, you get what you put in. So if I wasn't active with them, I wouldn't get anything. So the Boston Society of Architects has been very supportive as well, which is a chapter of the AIA National. So they have different chapters across the country. So that's on that end. In academia and former employers, they both are still active. Karen Nelson at the Boston Architectural College, people from there, Beth, they still are my mentors. Former offices, I try not to burn bridges. I really try not to burn bridges. So people from CBT Architects, where I worked for quite some time, they're still my mentors. I still talk to them. People from, Chad Riley is actually, he was a principal there. I call him. It's actually remarkable that David Nagahiro, who is, the big boss at CBT Architects, came to our grand opening. I worked there and we're no rivals. He came to our grand opening and supported us. So we're very humble. So we have partners and friends in the real estate industry, real estate investors, real estate agents. Our clients, some of them cross that line into friendship. I don't recommend doing that with everybody because that can be a problem, but some of them do cross that line and we're welcomed on that end and they teach us how to solve problems. My fiance is another line of support because I wouldn't be able to do what I do every day if I didn't have a partner that could support what I do. Because it's insane that I get home and I'm tired and we can't even talk, right? So that's very important. So it's really across all aspects of your life that you need to have a support system. Books, create your own support system. I just got these three beautiful books right now. I'm gonna
Mm.
figure out when and how I'm gonna read them. But
Yeah.
but I'm always digging for the next cool thing that will help us get to the next level. But you can only do that if you're humble. If you're better than everybody, you're never gonna get anything. Never. And and that's my support system personally.
You mentioned a little bit about competition. I know there is always going to be competition, so how do you pivot or how do you expand when you have a lot of competition in the architectural world?
So we are very much in competition with a lot of people, including AGTV, because AGTV shows everybody that you can do anything. Demo that wall, you can do it, blah blah blah, right? So we are competing with licensed people, non-licensed people. Everybody thinks that they are an architect. Everybody thinks that they're a designer. We're competing with all those people. The best way to compete and the best way to rise above it, above everybody, to me, and a flow is to have a unique value proposition and a unique approach to business. So from when you first call flow to when you get the end of the project, we've been creating a consistent funnel so that that process, because we're very much grateful to the fact that we do a lot of projects. So we've done so many projects that we can see what's wrong, what breaks, what doesn't, what hurts, what doesn't. So we are fixing it. So
Mhm.
the more we continue to fine tune the flow machine, the more difficult it will be for others to compete with us. If people want a one-off project and they never want to do it again, it is what it is. If they want the cheapest project, it is what it is. We're not the cheapest. We're not, we came from the underdog world and we still have a startup mentality, but we're pretty much established as a company. So I would say that kind of like rinse and repeat, knowing and then adding new tools as we go sets us apart. So if somebody's competing with Flow, it's difficult because we're not the same. You cannot compare apples to apples because we're not the same, right? We work differently. We have processes that are different. We have steps that are different. You know, so we can use the same tools, but our results are different. So our key is the processes, the mindset, the vision, and the hunger that we have. The rest, it's really hard. We're not the same, so it's very difficult to compete with like that.
I really like that. That's again very inspirational.
Hmm.
Uh, I would say one more question. Now that you say that you guys are always adding things into Flow, what do you see for the incoming years for Flow? Like what is something that you want to integrate into Flow?
So last year we first introduced something called the Framework for Design Excellence from AIA, which is 10 principles that define excellence as per the institute. And it's 10 really good things: design for economy, design for energy, design for change, design for water, design for communities. So there's like different ingredients. I would like people afloat or someone afloat to champion that movement and insert it thoroughly throughout all of our projects. That would be
Mm.
very, very good. So that's one thing. We don't have any champion on sustainability within Flow. Zero champion within sustainability. So we're pretty much naked. If somebody really want to get a $5 raise at Flow, I'll tell you right now, go deep into that world. That if you go into that rabbit hole and say, I'm the champion, I'm taking that on, I'm gonna go to every conference, I'm gonna get LEED certified, I'm gonna do all that stuff, bro, that's instant right there because it's a painful part of flow that I can't do, Marcos can't do. We're doing just what we can do. So that's one. And another one is AI, right? Applying AI across the board is an area that Flow is virtually to some degree naked as well. So we need to begin applying more AI within our processes, within our systems. Maybe some crazy dreams of Darwin come true, which is let's create an app that's a Flow app that follows our steps, the same steps that we've already crafted, that solidifies it, that makes it easy for us to replicate our processes and be a bit more smooth and fluid flow, right? And that those two things will then set us apart from the competition again, but also open the doors to multiple branches of flow because we
Mhm.
have a good core, we're good. Let's spread the gospel across the globe, right? So then branches will probably be able to come. but we don't have that level of competency within the company right now so that we could do those things. So adding, in the next year or so, more sustainable work, green work, and as well as applying AI, because technology is what changes. You could be competing with the big guy, and the little guy can be the big guy if technology is embraced. If you don't embrace technology, you're gonna be forgotten in the universe, right? You're gonna be into oblivion. Yeah.
I've seen some of your projects already on the website for the sustainability, and I thought it was super cool. I was like, oh wow, they're so intricate and everything. They're very
Thank you.
detailed. Just one more question because now it popped up. Now let's just say AI. Has AI affected you guys at all in any sort of way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. AI has affected us. Our clients come to us with an entire vision created in AI, and now we have to make it true, right? And it's helped and it's hurt a little bit. It hurts in the sense that, well, look how quick I did that little ChatGPT rendering of that project, and the values. When you do quick things are not good across the board, right? I mean, people want fast food. Fast food's not really good, right? Anything fast is really bad. So often, right? So, but they still want it fast. So we're competing with them on that end. And that's why when they show us one option, we got to be able to show them three that are way better than those. And because they're using the same tool, but they don't have the agency and design capabilities we do. So we know what to ask of ChatGPT. But we've seen that. We've seen changes on renderings and 3D visualizations. We've seen changes in the way that we could write emails and communicate. So to some degree, it's enabled people that English is their second language or isn't their strength, write a little bit better, right? Write it in Portuguese or Spanish and then translate it and see what it sounds like, and be able to get a sense of sophistication that often makes us the underdogs that were looked down upon because we didn't write it like that, right? Like we're not the elites in that sense, right? Because English is our second language. Most of our team is English as a second language, so it's helped on that end. Um, so it's helped creating packages and proposals too. Again, because of the narrative and being able to eloquently write things and thoroughly write things. So the writing part and the visualizations part has been amazing. We still haven't used it much in the iterative process of creating a design. And
Mhm.
it hasn't, it's been an add-on, but not embedded in the process of making yet. So that part has changed. But our clients are becoming very much attuned to the technologies, and they have embraced it, and they've been showing us things that we didn't know, so that's shameful too. It's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Okay, whatever. You're like, whatever, bye bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how it's a change. Now, Angela, I know that was technically your last question, but I want to ask you,
Okay.
is there something that you want to know that you probably wouldn't feel comfortable asking me on business or whatever in your mind that you're like, Darwin? Because I'll tell you, I'm an open book. So if there anything that you want to know about the business, about the ecosystem, about the
Mhm.
industry, about what we do, and it could even be a personal one that you want to know from us or from me,
Yeah, I do actually.
go for it.
You said, okay, obviously, going to college, you always get huge amount of debt.
Yeah.
And that's like one of my biggest things where it's like I'm very indecisive. I really, to be honest, I don't know what I want to do. I wanted to do architecture. You know how it worked out for me. Then I picked marketing out of nowhere, and then I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do architecture. I mean, sorry, marketing, and then I wanted to do opto. I can't say that, but it's for being an eye doctor. And then I was like, okay, this everything comes down to me like I'm in the same boat where like I feel like I'm doing everything so late. But then also, that's how you went to school later for architecture. Obviously you said that you were in debt as well. How did you find the strength to or like to dive in completely? Because I feel like I'm still struggling to be here and be like, I'm gonna completely jump in when I have all of these factors that are like scaring me to completely jump in head first.
You know, and this is the part of Latinos that we differ on, Angela, because not all Latinos are created equal, right? Like I was born in the Dominican Republic and raised in the
Mhm.
Dominican Republic. You probably spend most of your time in the United States. So you have the element of options, which is a curse right? It's not really a blessing. It's actually a curse to some degree because when I came to the States, I had no more options other than becoming an architect. And that really empowers you so much. So much. Even if I realize later that I'm a great singer and I could sing, even if I realize later you could still do those things too, that's great. That I'm a great actor and I'm a great speaker and I should be doing motivational speeches, which I think I probably should. But those are things that that's no priority, man. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna become an architect. I'm gonna follow through on that. I'm gonna get it done, and that's it. I didn't have the feelings, the part of feelings like, oh, I don't feel like. Sometimes I don't feel like an architect. Actually, often I have imposter syndrome. Really, I still do have imposter syndrome, where I don't feel like, am I really an architect? Because there are all kinds of architects, and then the answer is absolutely. You're just your only type of architect. You only one kind of architect, which empowers you very much. So as it relates to you and your decision making process, go deep into what resonates with you the most, so much that you would do that even if you never got a penny from it. And it's very hard and probably not financially conscious, but at the end of the day, I think you got to pick that one thing that really resonates with you or sprinkles around what really resonates with you. I do not see you as a ophthalmologist, whatever, for the eyes. I do not. I really don't. I just met you. Hey, I just met you. And and you got my number. But yeah, so I see you more as somebody interested in people and thoughtful and caring
Yeah.
into people and connecting with people. I think marketing may be a good relationship. Public relations may be a good thing for you. Um, you know, and digging into it a little bit more. Now, architecture is so diverse, right? You could be an architect and you could be the marketing director of an architectural office. Isn't that weird? That you could be an
Yes.
architect, licensed architect, and you're the marketing director of an architectural office, meaning you're still going to be doing marketing, but you're also an architect. So I'll give you an example. Janelle DeAngel, she was Perkins and Will CEO. Perkins and Will is an architectural office in Boston. She's from Puerto Rico. So look into her, please. She was
Mhm.
just promoted now for managing principal to, I don't know if it's a promotion or a demotion, but that's another question, to the marketing director of that company. She's the public relations. She's the face of the company. Amazing. She never thought ever, ever that she would go to architecture school and be running a marketing department within an architecture office. But things just flex and change. Me, I don't draw anything. I wish I did. I'm the invoice guy. I'm the knucklehead fighter for education, for growth for others. I'm like the AIA kind of champion within Flow. I do all kinds of things, but drawing is not the thing I do. And I love it. And I love it, but I can't do it. It's too much. So I would say be flexible to grow and flex and look for directions and always, they say, oh, have a plan to fall for, like as a second option. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what I've learned also in life is that having options, again, I told you, it's not really a good thing to some degree, right? When I was single for a while, I had a lot of options and they translated into one thing and one thing only: wasteful time, wasted time, complete waste and non-conviction. I was turning into somebody so pathetic I wouldn't even want to hang out with, because when you have all these options, you never take anything and anyone seriously.
Mhm.
And then you're wasting their time and your time, and you're becoming less of a person, no more of a person. Versus when you have conviction and consistency, you become more of a whole individual, you know? Um, and the legacy that you leave behind, it would be a joy to tell those stories, right? You know, talking to Flow, 9 years of Flow. Julio can say he's seen everything that has happened at Flow for the last 9 years, from the tables that we picked, to the legs that we got, to the colors of the company, to the logo of the company. That's something to say about your life versus being spread everywhere and being, what is it, master, what is an, of a lot of tools, but you're master of none, right? There's a phrase like that. So to me, look into what gives you that itch. Forget about the money. I'll tell you right now. I was completely broke 5 years ago. I'm nowhere near broke right now. Okay. So 5 years ago, I was sleeping on the couch at my mom's house. Horrible divorce, sleeping on the couch, had COVID. It was nasty. I wasn't suicidal. I don't even know why. It was horrible. So that said, everything can change in a second. Get your priorities aligned, and you'll find your place. You'll find where you feel comfortable. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know. I be stressing out a little bit because mi mamá también me dice like, es que no es centrada, no es centrada. I'm just like, Mom, I'm trying my best. So
The
I think a little bit pressure, but yeah, that helps me a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and one thing, if you really pursue marketing all the way in and you think that you like that the most, call me. We'll figure out how to make a place for you. There's only probably three requirements
Thank
of
you.
flow. Three requirements of flow. Do not come in here entitled. You haven't earned anything yet. You got to earn it. Feel like an owner. If there's milk on the floor or something spilled, pick it up and clean it. And listen to everything I tell you and everybody else tells you. Literally listen. Don't know any better. Just listen. After the first year, you'll be able to really contribute. But we always give. We never waste your time. Your growth is my independence declaration. You see it? Because I can walk away and not do marketing. I
Yeah.
need somebody else to do marketing. So that's how it is. I do have another meeting coming up, and I think you're also done. So
Yes.
hopefully this was helpful.
Yes, it
Hopefully
was.
you
Thank you so
you're
much.
hopefully you're fired up. You're fired up.
Yes, yes, I am. I
All right,
am.
let's do it. So we'll
Thank you
see you.
so
We'll see
much.
you on the next time we connect. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Blessings. Bye
Have a
bye.
nice day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.